Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Tuesday, November 8th. I'm Gary Stevens. Second Tuesday of the month. We, at this time, see what's going on at the Holland Museum, located at the junction of West 10th Street and River Avenue here in downtown Holland. Very pleased on the other side of our Zoom connection this morning to be chatting with the executive director of the Holland Museum, Ricki Levine. Ricki, good morning and welcome back.
Good morning, Gary. Thank you. It's great to see you.
Good to see you as well. Well, for me, it's good to see you. And our listeners are glad to be able to hear you, Ricki, and be able to chat with you at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Before we talk about some of the things going on at the museum, I do want to talk about Election Day. And I know in the past, the museum has had special exhibits about Election Day and elections in Holland. Is there something permanent at the museum in terms of display? A little corner that might say, elections in Holland over the years, or is that something that just moves in and out as the exhibits rotate through the museum?
Yeah, you're referring to our election reflection exhibit that we had a couple of years ago. And yes, that was a temporary exhibit that was put on display. And we put the timing there just because it was around Election Day and there was so much going on. But no, we don't have necessarily anything. I'm trying to think in our history gallery if we have anything currently. But we have over 100,000 items in our collection. So we do take things out periodically and put them on display for a more permanent time period. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would apply to that.
Do the staff sometimes do a little collecting of, say, bumper stickers or buttons that might be going around, say, for this election, just to sort of stash it away for maybe a few years down the road for another Election Day display?
Yeah, we're always welcoming different donations from different folks, and certainly political things that are current now will definitely be history in the future. So we'd love to be able to collect that. I don't know if we're actively doing that, but we're always gathering that information when people are done with it. During COVID or immediately after COVID, we actually started collecting some stories from people, and we're still accepting those because, as we know, COVID is still here on some level. But we also took things in like masks that were made by local community members and instructions on how to use them, because that was also new for us, and that's become part of our collection.
The other thing I'll just mention, then we'll move on, is we're going through right now an inflation period in our country right now, and we haven't seen inflation in these numbers in 30, 40, 50 years. And first thing I thought of as we were starting to talk about inflation was those win buttons from the mid-1970s during President Ford's reign. And the Gerald Ford Museum in Grand Rapids still has a couple of win buttons posted up. I was thinking, that would be, yeah, I remember. Let's whip inflation right now. Well, Mr.
Right.
Ford, it's whip inflation now. You don't have to put the word right in it. Anyway, let's move on. This is one of the pleasant times of the year, and I'll tell you why I call it pleasant. Because we chat on the second Tuesday of the month, and it comes before the second Monday of the month. And that, of course, is a free time for the museum. People can come and visit the museum for free. It's coming up this coming Monday, and not only can people visit the museum for free, Ricki, but there are some special, well, shall we say, enticements to get people over to 10th Street and River Avenue.
Absolutely. And Gary, I was so excited when the timing worked out this way, because I know how geeked you are about our second Mondays, and it's usually we're talking about it in the past tense. But yes, second Monday is next Monday. It's from 4 to 7. It's free to anybody who wants to come to the museum. And yes, we're doing a special program. We're calling it our Heroes program. And it is Holland's Hometown Heroes. And we have a bunch of people from different organizations and different walks of life and different professions coming in to talk about what they do and how they become a part of our community and our hero to the community and the people that live and work here. So it's part of our community Big Little Read program to join us to celebrate these local heroes who help create change, help others, protect our community. So you'll hear their stories, you'll learn about the heroes who inspired them, and then you can take part in a historic heroes scavenger hunt right at the museum. So there's lots of other friend and family activities to participate into, and that's all part of Free Second Monday next Monday.
From 4 o'clock until 7 o'clock at the Holland Museum, sponsored by the Meyer Foundation. It's
Yes.
A chance for people that, maybe, time's a little tough right now and they have to watch their pennies here and there, and they might be saving to make sure that their kids have a Christmas gift under the tree. This is a chance for them to enjoy the museum, and I think we've talked about this before, Ricki. It's a great, to use a business term, loss leader, where you have a thing that's open, people see what the museum is like, and they can perhaps think about maybe joining as a member of the museum.
Absolutely. And the other thing that this Second Monday does in terms of accessibility is it's evening hours, and not everybody can come during the day, even on our Saturday weekend hours. So it just gives people another opportunity to come in when they might not otherwise be able to.
Ricki, before we talk about upcoming events, there is one exhibit that is winding down, and it's going to go away at the end of the month. Tell us all about it.
It is November 28th is the last day to see the History of Holland Women's Missionaries, which is our temporary exhibit that's been up for a few months now. And it's a really fascinating exhibit. It just touches on a few women missionaries that lived or came from the Holland area and actually did their missionary work overseas, mostly Asia. And it's fascinating because these women were able to do something that they couldn't do in their own country. They were able to really take the lead in a lot of ways that wasn't available to them domestically. So they took the opportunity to work overseas and really invested in the communities they worked in.
Now, as we move on, of course, that exhibit goes on through the 28th, and we'll wait for the museum to make the official announcement about the next temporary exhibit.
It's going to be good, I promise you.
But let's talk about some of the events that are going on in the month of November. Tales from the Archives. And there's three facets, I should say, of this particular series, first of which comes up this coming Thursday.
That's correct. Tales from the Archives allows people in the community or outside the community that have explored the existing collection that we have or reside at the Joint Archives and tell the story of something that's relevant to Holland, Michigan in terms of the collection. And we are really delighted this Thursday, and then also a second episode of this, totally different, on November 17th. This is Henry Ludekeisen, is a doctor, expert historian on Dutch art. And he is going to be talking about the flowers, the still life exhibits that are in the Holland Museum and the Dutch influence on that kind of painting work. And he is a scholar in this area. He is really well spoken. He's done a lot of HASP programs. So a lot of people in the community already know who he is. And he's going to be doing one on November 10th at the museum in our Spark Lab space, and that's at 7 o'clock. And then again on November 17th. But the topic he's going to be addressing on November 17th are landscape art and the Dutch influence on the landscape art and what they did in that time period. So really fascinating dialogue with somebody who knows his stuff. And we're excited to have him for both of those events. You need to register on Eventbrite, just so we have a count. There's no cost to attend, but we really want to know how many chairs to put out. So it's always good to register ahead of time if you can. And then the next The Tales from the Archives is actually in December, but it's the first week of December, on December 2nd. And this is a collaboration with Herrick District Library and with Hope College. And it's called the Ottawa County Poor Farm, New Perspectives from Data Analytics, and Local Digital History. And that's actually going to be held at the library. So we're doing a collaboration event with them. We try to collaborate with all different organizations in the community to strengthen what all expertise that we come with and they come with. So this will be on December 2nd, which is a Friday, and that is from 4 to 5 p.m., so late afternoon.
Now, there are a couple of programs in December coming up on the 10th, and I believe if unfortunately, the calendar knowledge is such as that we won't be able to discuss it in the next episode of the museum with us, because it's going to come the Saturday before, and that is coming up on the 10th. Two special presentations on the 10th. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, this is the second time we're doing both of these. The first one, same day, but the first one is going to be what we call Holidays Around the World 2022. And this is at the museum property, and it's from 10 to 1 p.m. And what we have are, again, partnerships with different organizations and different groups in the community that come and display and share a holiday of a different culture. So you get to explore, you get to learn about different people and different holidays. They're not all December holidays, so it's not just cramming in the same things every year. We like to explore different cultures and different holidays from around the year. So it's a family-friendly program. It's included with the Holland Museum admission. If you're a member, you get in for free, and then you can explore all of these holidays and activities throughout the year. And then that afternoon, from 1 to 4. So you can do the morning program at the museum, maybe take a break for lunch, and then come to the Capon House for Victorian Christmas at the Capon House. As you know, the Capon House is a Victorian structure. It's styled in the Victorian era, and it's a beautiful home. And it's decorated by the Holland Garden Club for the holidays, but in a very Victorian way. And there'll be activities and programs all about what it was like to be celebrating a Victorian Christmas during that time period. And we have the chorale coming to sing, so it'll be a lot of fun. Full day of activities, and there's an admission cost to come into the Capon House, but again, if you're a museum member, there is no admission. So please join us for a really fun day celebrating holidays in December 10th.
Let's talk a little bit about something we normally like to bring about every once in a while, just to let people know about how they can be involved with the Holland Museum. Ricki, how can people get involved with the museum?
You know, there are many, many ways. We're always looking for volunteers. And when you think of volunteers for the museum, you don't necessarily think of anything besides docents, because that's what you're used to seeing when you go to a museum. But there's a lot of volunteering that's done behind the scenes, including committee work, including research, scanning our collection for our digital work, volunteering as an administrator in some of our data entry kind of work. So there's a lot of different things depending on your skill set and your interests. Some people like to work with people, some people not so much. We have something for everyone. So that's one way to be involved. Another way is obviously being a donor. We are a nonprofit organization. There is no jurisdiction that owns us. We really rely on the kindness of the community and of strangers, as well as folks that are local, to really support the work that we're doing. And last but not least is membership. And there are 3 membership levels. Basic, $35, gets you into the museum for a full year. No admission is charged, and you can bring a friend every single time you come. You also get previews to the openings. We mentioned that there's a new exhibit opening in December. You would get an invitation to come to that opening before the public gets to see it. And there's a reception, and there's some remarks, and it's a fun night to spend with other people that believe in the museum. The next level of membership is what we call our family membership. And that's good for 2 adults, children under 17, in the household. And it could also be grandparents or parents. It doesn't limit it to the household that everyone lives in. It could be grandparents who have kids every once in a while and want to bring them in and see the new exhibits or the activities in Spark Lab, which we haven't talked about today either. And the last level is the premium, and that's $125. And what you get is for adults and children under 17, as well as a History Magazine subscription, Michigan History Magazine subscription, as well as a NARM membership, which is North American Reciprocal Museums, which allows you to get into museums, not even just in North America, but a lot of places all over the world accept it. So you don't have to pay admission. Think Chicago. Think about the admission prices to museums in Chicago. Many of them are part of the NARM membership, and so it's reciprocal. For $125, you can get into those museums as well.
If you'd like to be a part of the Holland Museum or find out some more information online, very simple, hollandmuseum.org. That's hollandmuseum.org. And the museum, which is open on Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. The Spark Lab from 1 till 5 p.m. on Mondays and Fridays, 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. on Saturdays. The Holland Museum's phone number is 616-796-3329. That's 616-796-3329. Ricki Levine, as always, thank you very much for telling us what's going on at the museum. Wish you and everybody at the museum well over the next month or so. Look forward to either chatting with you or one of your fine staffers again next month. And you're always welcome here on WHTC. Ricki, thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Everyone go out and vote.
Thank you very much, Ricki Levine on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.